You are listening to Mining Stock Education, where you'll learn from the top leaders in the natural resource sector and uncover quality mining investment opportunities.
What Newmont has announced is that they're going to sell a bunch of properties across Canada, which includes Eleonore. And if a new investor comes in, an owner comes in, if I were them and I had paid $500 or $600 million for Eleonore, I'd certainly like to know or look at what's next to me. And if we can move forward and put some drill holes in and do some of the work we think could add some value, I think it could add a lot of value to Fury.
You are listening to MSE. I'm Bill Powers. Thanks for tuning in. In today's show, you're going to get an update from one of our sponsors, Fury Gold Mine. The website is furygoldmine.com, ticker symbol FUR on the big boards in New York and Toronto. We're chatting today with CEO and Director Tim Clark and SVP of Exploration Brian Atkinson. Gentlemen, welcome back onto the show. Tim, you're taking a moment away from the BMO conference in Florida to chat with me today, so thank you for that. Put out a press release. Fury consolidates interest at Eleonore South Gold Project to 100%. Could you review this project? Perhaps it's not at the forefront of investors' mind. And what was the rationale in acquiring 100% of it?
Look, this was a joint venture that sits just below the Eleonore Mine that Newmont owns. It's about 50 kilometers north of our Eau Claire project. And it's, I think, in what Brian and our team have told me, it's one of our more prospective areas of new discovery. And the scenario had been that three companies owned this. It was Azimut, Newmont, and Fury. And they just, when you get three parties in there, they can't agree and they can't move forward. A year and a half, 2 years ago, we bought Azimut out. And then last year, we tried to put a project together for Newmont, but because they had bought Newcrest, they didn't want to move forward with any project. So they didn't want to fund it. So we wanted to keep moving forward. So we sat down with them last spring, and it's taken that long to come to this. But I think it opens up yet another opportunity for Fury. And I think that the mindset and the strategy that I've sort of set forth to investors is, look, it's a down market. This is the chance where you clean up things and you try to tee yourself up so that when the flows come back in, that you're going to accelerate and have a lot of leverage. And owning 100% of this property in that particular area that sits between not one but two basic mines with Sirios is a very prospective area where you find gold. And anything that also helps us get into a position where we're a better consolidation target is good for Fury. And what Newmont has announced is that they're going to sell a bunch of properties across Canada, which includes Eleonore. And if a new investor comes in, an owner comes in, if I were them and I had paid $500 or $600 million for Eleonore, I'd certainly like to know or look at what's next to me. And if we can move forward and put some drill holes in and do some of the work we think could add some value, I think it could add a lot of value to Fury.
And you're paying for this with cash out of treasury of Fury?
Yeah, so it's we are buying the property for $3 million. We have 6.3 in the treasury, and we're also buying 1.3 million of Sirios shares, so it gives us about 11%. That was part of the deal. Newmont wanted to clean house, and we got a great deal on the property if we did both, and so we pushed forward with that. And again, it wasn't a lot of money, but it gives us a huge amount of optionality with that whole area. So I think it's a net positive. I think right now what we need to do is go back up and do some work on the property and do some geochem and some more exploration on our side to decide what we're going to do going forward and kind of wait and see how the process goes for Eleonore.
With the Sirios shares that you're buying, is there a lockup period on that or certain parameters regarding what you can do with that investment?
No.
Okay, so you're like a fund manager in a sense, right? You have all these Dolly Varden shares.
No, well, we own stock of quite a bit, quite a few companies now because of some of the royalty deals that we've done. It's interesting, and the idea is that we're not here to be a fund manager, but we're here to monetize things and keep moving things along. And they are a source of funds for us going forward.
Ryan, so this acquisition, the Eleonore South project, it's between a gold mine and a gold project. I understand that there's some historic holes and some gold in till anomalies. You want to break that down further, and what is the prospectiveness you see here?
Yeah, definitely. It's an early stage project, but, saying that at the same time, there's been over $20 million in exploration expenditures on the property historically. You say in between two gold projects, but, the Chichu deposit comes over across onto our side. Drilling there, we've got 6 meters of 49 grams on our side of the property line now, which have never been followed up on. This is the first time this project's been held 100% by a single company, so now we can really drive that exploration forward. And we've got some great gold and till anomalies. We've got obviously the extension to Chichu onto our property, plus we've got some really nice looking biogeochem results that we're just working through. So you'll see some new targets coming out of this as well as we work forward. And great address, road accessible. We got power lines running through the middle of the property. It's just a great place to be, and we're excited to get in there. And some really nice stuff that has never properly been followed up on because of the split ownership and split decision making in the past.
Tim, with Newmont's focus, do you expect the Eleonore Mine to be sold in the near term?
Oh, they've announced it. So it's believe it's Porcupine, Musselwhite, Eleonore, and a few other assets. They want to raise $1 billion. It's out in the market. It was announced this week, and it's what a lot of people are talking about right now. So they're absolutely on going to sell it. It's just a matter of how long it takes them to get the process going. I don't think anything's really kicked in officially, but that is certainly on the horizon.
So for a near-term catalyst for the company, would it be to develop a drill plan for this project, show some significant mineralization, and perhaps, we don't know the future, but you could even tee it up for the potential buyer of the Eleonore Mine?
100%. I mean, that's sort of the strategy here. And it's interesting, that whole area up at James Bay is ripe for consolidation. You've got the whole power structure, infrastructure, you got the road structure, you got a mill on Eleonore that's only being used at half capacity. Newmont really didn't do a lot to, streamline what was going there or do any exploration at all. And we gave them plenty of opportunity last year and they didn't bite. So I think it's a potential for a new company, and who knows whether it's going to be an Australia company or a Canadian company or North American company. But I think that they'll probably come in as a sizable company, and they're not going to look to minimize. They're going to look to maximize that whole area. And it's going to get a lot more attention now that we've cleaned it up and we're a friendly relationship person. Like we are proactive in how we want to do things, and we've demonstrated that the last couple of years. So, I think that for an investment point of view, you just got to be patient and let some of this play out. And we're not in a rush. Our share price is low right here. This is a time for us to be prudent with the money that we do have. So we're not going to be, spending a lot, but we're going to be targeted on trying to maximize what we think we're worth and what another company will pay for us. And as we look at the back of Eau Claire, we're going to come out with a resource update end of March, early April. And we've done a lot of the drilling around Eau Claire in terms of showing the size when it comes out. And it allows us to be more targeted to new discovery. And this is what people are paying for. They don't want to just see the resource get bigger. They want new discovery. And we get that. And we're going to give it to them this year.
Ryan, Tim mentioned that the Eleonore Mill is at half capacity. With the mineralization you see at your nearby Eau Claire project, from a metallurgical perspective, is that compatible if the buyer of Eleonore would be interested in Eau Claire?
Yeah, from what I understand, looking at the met at Eleonore, it's very compatible. They're high grade gold in quartz veins, and not very much complicating metallurgy with either style of mineralization. And further to that, we've got some targets on the Eleonore South property that we think look a lot like Eleonore proper. So you can have that as sort of an intermediary stage as well, a much earlier stage, something we've got to flush out a little bit with some more exploration, as Tim pointed out. But I think that whole area consolidation that Tim was talking about, would include, or possibly would include, Eau Claire, 50 kilometers to the south.
And there's the infrastructure to transport the ore. We're talking conceptually here, but you have that in place if you wanted to transport it to Eleonore.
Yeah, there's existing road network through. It's a long sort of circuitous route right now going around things, but the power line that goes from, that feeds Eleonore, so there's already, linear infrastructure that links basically Eau Claire to Eleonore. So, whatever sort of future analysis there, somebody would have to look at those economics, but there's definitely infrastructure there that link the two directly.
Ryan, what are the drill programs going to look like divided now between Eau Claire and the Eleonore South? Like 50-50, 60-40 in terms of the spend?
Yeah, so it's sort of around 60-40, I think, is where we want to go. We've got some really nice things out at, Percival on the Eau Claire property that we want to follow up on. We got some big steps we want to take out at, big steps outside of the Eau Claire resource. We've got the gap zone, which we didn't touch last year, where we're sitting on a meter at 45 grams. We've got the east extension that, produced some really good results, over the last couple of years for us. So that's all going into the resource, but it's still all open. So we want to just keep showing that. And then we've been pushing Tim to drill Eleonore South here for the last 2 years, basically since he got the seat at, since he became the CEO. So this is going to be the year where we get up there and, really show what we think is up there.
Tim, so you were able to buy Newmont's portion here, and Newmont's looking at other things, so they were willing to let it go. But you mentioned you previously bought a portion of the project from Azimut. Why'd they walk away from it?
Well, again, when you had multiple partners up there and the growth opportunities just stagnated because no one could move forward. We liked the property, so Azimut offered it. We took it, and about a month later, I bumped into Jean-Marc at a conference, and he was super nice, and he leaned back and he said, I just want you to know that it's not that I didn't sell it because I didn't like it. I, in fact, really like it, but we just had to move forward with our own projects, and we couldn't sit on things, and we had to let it go because we have our own strategy. And that's the same reason why Newmont's doing this. They have such a bigger profile than we have, and a lot of times it's hard for our board or investors to understand how big Newmont is and how small we are. And we can nimbly go in here and do things that they can't and make real money at it, that they need to focus on their own strategy. So from our standpoint is we win by making this whole area more consolidation friendly. And if we can go in there and spend some money on drilling and exploration and show that there's another potential for another 2 million ounces in the middle of our property, this is going to be worth a lot.
Ryan, when do we get to see the drill plans? When are you going to lay that out for investors?
We want to finish up the resource update at Eau Claire, because with the remodeling of everything there, it's opening up some new targets, and then we'll kind of come out with that, mid-April sort of thing. I think when we talk about 2024 plans, we want to get back up there, start opening camp around the end of March anyways. So we'll get out there and let everybody know what things are going to look like and what the targets we're most interested in for this year, as there's no end of interesting targets between Eau Claire, along the Canard Deformation Zone, and then coming up here to Eleonore South around the Chichu tonalite, where we wanted to drill further since we got the project in 2020. So pretty pumped. Yeah.
Tim, as I said, you're at the BMO conference right now, where we're talking on Monday afternoon. I can see it around your neck where you have the BMO name tag.
Yeah.
What are the key happenings there at BMO?
Oh, well, all the big guys are speaking today. So we've had the BHP started the breakfast, and we had Robert Friedland for lunch. I just came out of the Agnico Eagle meeting. All of them are packed. Lunch was standing room only. Everybody's here, and everybody's looking for deals. And investors, you know, when I sit down and I've known a lot of these guys 20 plus years, and they're out looking for ideas. And I think that the frustration part has been that the retail money really hasn't flowed in the equities, even though the gold price has been up, for example. And the thematic theme is that the industry in itself, mining, is undervalued relative to the supply demand. And people in the world don't understand that, you know, we're going to need to mine to have cell phones and cars and electric vehicles. And that's been a big part of the conversation. I think where the market's been kind of manipulated with the interest rates and the dollar. And once that sort of flips back, I think that everybody wants to be really well positioned. So I think there's more consolidation to come at these levels. Not everybody's got money the way we have. It gives us a huge advantage. And I personally, people ask me, like, how am I funding this project? We've got the cash, and we have multiple avenues to raise money when we need it. And that's not what my focus is. My focus is on where can we just be broader into this industry and see other opportunities. And so we're talking a lot to other companies and looking at other land packages. But we're big enough that we don't have to do anything if we don't see anything. That's a huge, huge gap for us. And so I still think we're one of the best positioned junior gold explorers out there because of that.
Company again is Fury Gold Mines, and it's furygoldmines.com. Ticker symbol FURY on the big boards in New York and Toronto. Gentlemen, thank you for this update. I know it's the conference season, so I hope everything goes well when you're in Florida and in Toronto next week, I'm sure.
Thank you, Bill.
Great. Thanks, Bill.